Welcome to the Road End podcast. Stay tuned to hear all things LFC.
Hello everyone and welcome to season 3 of the Road End podcast. Today I'm joined by Leo. Leo is the creator of Liverpool Goals and produces fantastic content for everybody on Twitter, Instagram and across the internet. First of all, mate, it's great to have you. How are you?
Yes, it's such a pleasure to finally be on and to see each other virtually at least. I hope next time I'm in Liverpool we'll be able to meet up. I'm sure we will be able to. But today is a pretty good day to be a Red, with Mac Allister coming in. I think some of us started getting a little worried because it was dragging on. And because of, I think, the Fekir saga in the past, like there's a little part of us that's like, oof. But we got the deal over the line, so
35 million, potentially 55, what people are saying. I even feel like that's still a bargain.
It's unreal. But it really seems like it's 35 million pounds because I saw Neil Jones reported today as well that it was 35 million pounds and Paul Joyce. So it seems like that's his release clause and we'll take it.
Maybe it's them imaginative figures that people make up for Nunes as well.
Exactly, because they're jealous. Jealousy.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone will know your work already, but talk to me about Liverpool Goals then, because, I mean, it speaks for itself on the likes of Instagram and Twitter, over 1 million followers. How did this come about for you? Why did you start this?
Yeah, so a lot of it, you're based in, in the home of Liverpool, but for us Reds that, are international and watching from different places in the world, like I really was in need of that community, and I was in need of wanting to get together with other Reds who loved and had as much passion for the team as I did. And obviously at school, like people would watch the NBA, like and things like that, because I lived in New York for some time, and it really was just like this desire to share and meet other Reds from around the world, because I think that's part of the magic, and as you saw, you met Maria from Brazil who came over. Like I got to meet her as well in Liverpool. You met her, and it's just that I think that's such a beautiful thing that we can, it offers this community aspect that I don't think you get in many other forms, where no matter our background, where we're from, our story, where we bond over this, and I think that was just the inner desire, and it started from there, and it's just, yeah, it's been an amazing journey for sure.
So what you talk about that, so people support Liverpool all over the world in countries that we probably don't even know exist as well. What's your message to the people that say about being top Reds, let's say, because there's so much nonsense online. And for me, listen, obviously I'm born and bred in the city, and I understand everything about it. But
exactly,
likes of yourself, the likes of Maria from different countries, so there's no problem for me about being anywhere. It's one big community, like you said. What do you think when you see stuff like that? Does it dishearten you?
I mean, the way I'd speak about it is like, I just think we have a different relationship, I think there's no point in comparing. Like I do think that you're going to have a relationship to Liverpool that's just very different, where I'm sure your family, your ancestors all supported Liverpool. Like I'm the first in my family to support Liverpool. So it's definitely not like that same relationship, but at the same time, I don't think there's a point in comparing, because yes, you could say that you're a bigger Red than me, and I would agree, because you were born and it was in your blood, so I'll give you that credit. But at the same time, it's like, why make things a competition when there's all this beautiful part to it? And I'm saying, as a Red from outside, I've come to this city, I've been fortunate enough to come a few times, and every time I go, like, just the love, and I was so relieved, because for many years I would run Liverpool Goals, and I was kind of like worried about my first visit to Liverpool, because I was like, online there would be a lot of hate sometimes when I go on lives, and people would be like, oh, so you run Liverpool Goals, but you don't even have a Scouse accent and all this stuff. And I'm like, guys, like, I'm not trying to act like I'm Scouse or I know Liverpool's history better than anyone. No, like, that's not true. I just have this passion, this inner desire, and I want to meet other Reds like you, like, we were saying Maria, and Reds all over the world. But I would say, though, to really have respect for the Liverpool fans who watch from the side of the world where there's, Asia, Australia, that side, because I don't think we realize what it's like to see matches at 2 a.m. on a consistent basis.
I know.
And like one of the admins, Advait, who's been part of Liverpool Goals for 3 or 4 years now, he's based in India and he's a law student. So he's going through like intense studies, like all of this. He's never once missed a game that I can remember. And mind you, he's in law school and has internships at the same time. Like he's not just sitting on his couch, you know. But again, it's to show that this passion, you know, shouldn't be underestimated, because like the dedication I've seen really inspire, like I find inspiring, and shows the how special a football club it is, because we can truly be a family. I've never met Advait in real life, but yeah, we interact all the time, and his passion is like no other, you know. So it's like no need to compare, but just appreciate, you know, the
Exactly.
beauty.
I like that. I like that. Speaking of Liverpool, then, so what's your earliest memory of being a Liverpool supporter?
So it is Istanbul. It's Istanbul, and I wasn't like a Liverpool fan, but like again, my family, everyone hates football, hates sports. Like it's not their thing, you know. And so for me, it was this space to kind of just find my identity, kind of thing. And I like that final. What was I will always remember, even though I was only 6. You know, I was very young, but it's especially after that I was intrigued, and then I had a Liverpool fan because I lived in Iceland at that time. I had a friend who was a massive Liverpool fan, and he showed me cassettes of Stevie, and I just remember, again, it's this thing where it's like, even if you don't understand every part of the Scouse culture, even if you don't understand what it's like to be born there, you know, all of these things that I understand are specific to being from the city like yourself. It's like there is something very, very special about Liverpool that even from the outside, even if you've never stepped foot in Liverpool, you can sense it's a football club on another level to anywhere else. And I'm not just talking about our history and the trophies, but it's like this feeling, this special feeling of family. Like you see, like former Reds, like Xabi Alonso, he said like Liverpool's his favorite, like is what feels like most like home, and he played for Real Madrid, and he's Spanish, you know,
Yeah.
and that tells you everything you need to know, that these foreign players come here and their bond to Liverpool is so strong that even in their home countries, clubs they played for, they you know, they can't compare. And like special.
Well, you just mentioned former Reds. You've got a fantastic relationship with Jose Enrique.
Yeah.
Um, brilliant, brilliant player. Had some health issues and
Yeah.
he's come back strong. He seems like a really good fella.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So that was during COVID. Like, you know, during COVID we all had a lot of spare time, unfortunately. And I was just like, you know what, like a lot of these, you know, because current players, I remember I was able to actually speak on DM with Saudio for a little bit. And he even said like he would be willing to jump on a live, because I spoke in French with him too. But then he was like, never mind. I spoke to my agent, the contract, and it's like basically current players, they can't do interviews unless there's a bunch of signed, as you know, in case something bad happens, and
Yeah,
especially alive, like you're risking it all, because it's not like you can, you know what I mean. So
yeah.
anyways, he couldn't, but so I messaged a lot of former players, and so I did like a live with Luis Garcia, with Anthony Le Talec. I don't know if you remember him, a bit of a
Yeah, oh
random one,
yeah.
but yeah, you
Well,
remember. Yeah,
have you heard the story about him today?
it's crazy what happened
Wow.
to. He was so close to what that happened. Yeah.
Yeah,
How did you
scary.
hear it? Did you see that in the news? Or
No, so I was driving home from work before, and obviously heard the attack in France, and then they mentioned Anthony Latala was at the scene at the
in the
time, and I'm
midst of it?
thinking, how random is him to be there anyway?
It's
And then
crazy.
obviously he's explaining in French, and they
Yeah,
translated, and I just like
it's mad.
crazy,
But
crazy.
the big thing for him, I remember he was part of that Istanbul team, and he was telling me like one of those special moments was when he got that assist, the honor of that Luis Garcia volley against Juve. Remember, on the way to Istanbul? I know
Hey,
it
so
wasn't like
that goal, yeah,
yeah.
I'm sat in the Upper Anfield Road stand behind that where he hits it.
No, you weren't there.
Yeah, so that season was like one of the,
Oh,
well, not, I wouldn't say the earliest because I was 14 at that time, but that season and obviously the couple of years after and before with Rafa, wow, incredible. And I was there for the Olympiacos, the Chelsea, both
oh, don't
games.
even. Apparently, the
Yeah,
Chelsea at home, from what I've heard, is the most special and like the loudest
the
roar of
loudest.
like that anyone has heard since. Actually, someone was telling me, but obviously you wouldn't have been around then. But it was like a tour guide at Anfield. He said in '77, Liverpool beat Saint-Etienne to get to the European Cup final, and apparently I don't know what was going on in the Cup end that day, but apparently like that was like he said that's the level of like Chelsea at home and maybe Barca, of
I've
course.
got that game
Barca.
on. I've got the
On
Saint Etienne game on video.
wait, was it in 77 or
77. My
77?
dad got me the video, and he said because we went that game, the Chelsea game, and I watched it, and it's just mad.
See, so that shows how true it is then, because the tour guide, when I went to Enfield, he was at that game. He was in the Cop End, and he was like 9 years old, and he was like yeah.
Mate, that noise, the ground.
Oh
I mean,
my.
the Barcelona came close, and a lot of people will say that was probably their best one. But that when that Garcia goal went in / not gone in,
Oh my Lord.
the ground felt like it was physically moving. It was just rocking. It was crazy.
I can't imagine, because for me the craziest I've experienced Anfield, because I mostly go to Premier League games and Champions League nights are different. When I went to Real Madrid and Nunez scored that second goal, it was this season, right? Remember?
Yeah.
There was belief that we were gonna do it. You know, we were 2-0 up after 13 minutes. Nunez scores like an insane goal, and I was like, "This is it. We're gonna beat them 5-0, and then we're gonna win the Champions League." You know.
And then Ancelotti turned his team up.
but to go back to Jose, what's really special? It's like, again, I just wanted to do like one live with some of these players, and just to like tell stories and have some extra content during COVID, because people had more time on their hands. But Jose was just like, what's unbelievable is he's just like you said, with his difficulties, with his sickness, like he just has this mentality. But I think he was also like this before, but even more so now, just appreciation for life and wanting to share and just like, just such a good heart, and he's someone that, again, like values family over everything else, which I find beautiful too, because he has lots of opportunities. He's the type that could have gone into management. People ask him why not, and he's like, no, like, to me, like spending time with his newborn now, like that's what I want to dedicate my life to, and I think it's beautiful, because we know how competitive these people are. Like, when you're that competitive, to just say family is your priority, is rare, I feel like.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to hear he's doing well as well, because, like you said, the health issues and stuff he had in the past, obviously we wouldn't wish that on anyone, never mind someone so close to the club. Okay, so let's talk about the season just gone. I try and find the right words for this season. It's hard. But first few months, then after Christmas, it was a bit of a crazy season. So something we didn't expect, but also something that we had to deal with, basically. If you can pick a moment from that season that stands out for you and you go, what a day, or what a night, or what a game, or what something happened, what would your favourite be?
I mean, it has to be the 7-0. And I'll tell you, I don't know if you see the full-time graphics we do on Liverpool goals. It was so funny because, like, 60th minute in, I forget, maybe we were 3-0 or something up, 4-0 or something. And we start preparing the full-time graphic because we're like, okay, this is too crazy. It's not going to keep going. And every 5 or 10 minutes, we're just sending an updated Lazar, who's part of the team. He was on it that day. And every 5 minutes, it was like an updated graphic. And then we couldn't even fit the names on the graphic anymore because there was so many goals. And it's like to be able to do that against United, like, and I think Klopp is the one that said at the end of the season, he's like, the only thing we'll remember this season for is a 7-0 against United. And I do think it's true, because
he's right.
Like, given the squad that we had, it's like, if you look at the last 20 years, it's not the worst season we've ever had, but the fact that it's this squad, the fact that it's Klopp, the fact that we almost won the quadruple last season, that's what I think was so painful for a lot of us. It's like, we know how many years Klopp has left, and we need to cherish every single minute, because there's no, in my generation, in our generation, I don't think we're going to see another Klopp. We're not.
No, so it's painful.
It's painful, but today has given us some hope, and the rumors we're seeing, the news we're seeing, is giving us hope.
Yeah, and just on them rumors, then obviously we've had the Alexis signing confirmed. Yeah. Finally, I was like you said, I was starting to sweat on that one. Yeah. The Kone and Thuram, I'm confused. I just can't see us getting the two of them I don't know
Really?
why. It feels like one or the other for me. They look very similar in their game styles, and
Yeah.
who knows?
No, it's
I'm wondering whether the Trent position for next season is something that they might think about when they want to sign one or two.
yeah. No, the only thing with I spoke to Jose about it actually the other day, and I don't know if you saw Carragher. He also said that he thinks Trent should be permanently moved into the midfield, and that we should sign a right back in the summer. And I don't know that I agree in terms of like, yes, on paper, in the academy, he was a midfielder. Yes, on paper, he's an unbelievable passer. But then you look at our system, the 4-3 system that Klopp doesn't change. Like our midfielders are there to press. Our midfielders are there to win the ball back. Our midfielders are not there to play a sexy 70-yard ball. Like as much as I love Thiago, I don't think he's been what we needed, and
I
so
agree.
so when you say Trent in the midfield, I'm like, does that really get the best out of Trent in terms of like, we know how much he'd have to run and how much less space he would have to cross, because again, we don't see our midfielders like getting in positions. Maybe sometimes Hendo, like, when Trent plays him a ball, but like, again, it's like, is that really how to get the best out of Trent? And I'm not so sure. I feel like it's better to have a right center midfielder who's really solid, like stamina and running, tracking back, and then letting Trent have his freedom like we've seen, so that someone can really cover for him. And then when we're in the attack, he has the freedom to take up any position and do his thing.
I'm with
But
you.
what do you think?
I'm totally with you. No, I'm with you. I stand right by that shout, because the best Trent we seen was at right back. Yeah. So just because he's had a few games in this inverted fullback position, that was just to cover him, and that was to take pressure off him because of the exposure of him being on the right hand side permanently.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the best Trent we seen was when we had a Henderson with his full legs. We seen Fabinho with his full legs that covered the spaces.
Yeah.
So, like you say, we get a centre midfield in there that also covers the space for Trent to get forward and back. And I think we will see Trent at his best again on the right hand side.
It's just like, I think what not even the assists. Like for me, the most exciting part about like the end of the season and Trent's performances, it's not the assist, not like specific moments. It's the mentality, like seeing him have that desire to want to win, to just like, you see like he has a fire in him, and I hope he keeps that, because there was a moment where you felt like he was just depleted, and like we know he can be the best, and we know he can be the star, and we know he's capable of like magical things, but like I just hope whatever's happened towards the end of the season, that he keeps that mentality, because wherever he is on the pitch, if he's like that, he'll produce moments of magic like that goal against Leicester.
Yeah, and we need everybody hitting it next season. We can't afford any passengers. We've had our year off.
Exactly. What do you think of Curtis, though? I'm curious of Curtis Jones.
Okay, so if we were to go back 12 months, I would have said I can't see a future at Liverpool, and that's me being honest. And the reason for that is, I always thought he took that extra one or two touches that he just didn't need to take. So now that he's keeping it simple, and it looks like we've worked on things a lot with him in training, because he seems to be a step ahead now. He's clearly always had the talent, but it's always been at one too many steps.
Exactly.
But I think towards the end of the season, I mean, we can't fault him. He was probably probably one of the best.
Yeah.
In the team.
Our best midfielder, you could say.
And he turned the midfield completely around. It gave us an option that we didn't even know we had as a fan base. Long term, I don't know, if I'm being honest. It depends what comes in the summer. I'd like to see him as a squad player, and I'd like to see him develop by these players that, the problem he's got is we haven't got time. So we need to get to the next level now. We haven't got 3 or 4 years to watch a Curtis Jones develop.
True. It's true.
So it depends. If he's going to be patient, then who knows? He could be that star in the future. But if he's not going to be patient and he wants games, I don't know. Maybe a loan. See how it goes.
No, it's true. I'm kind of even more worried for Harvey, because as much as like I think he's more popular within the Liverpool fan base, it's like, what's his best position, Harvey?
I still don't know that.
And that's what I'm afraid is the reason he's gonna struggle. Is like, again, like you said, at Liverpool, you don't have that much time. And if you don't have that explosiveness in that position that you're in, I think it's going to be tough for him. I worry for him because I love him, and I think we all Liverpool fans love him, to bits. But
yeah, that's it. I think because we know he was a Liverpool supporter growing up, and he's got the affiliation with the club. You really want him to do well, but I cannot pinpoint a position and say that's his best one. And I feel as though if he was to move to the right forward, he's not quick enough.
Yeah.
If he plays in the midfield, he can't
defensively
cover the space.
Defensively.
Yeah, so I am worried for players like him. I mean, Fabio Carvalho is a big indication of things like that, which is sad to see. But again, where does he fit?
Yeah. Completely.
Okay. So I ask everybody this, and I feel like this is just a question that everybody needs to hear the answer to. Last season, when things were rough and tough, there was. I'm not going to give these people a credit, but they were given Jurgen Klopp, let's just say, a tough ride. Media, social media too. That man's a hero of mine and a generational manager that, like you said, we'd probably never see again. Let's forget about the negativity. What does Jurgen mean to you?
He, genuinely, you see that. I just love that image because, again, I'm saying my relationship is different, but everything I've read about Bill Shankly, I get goosebumps thinking about it because it's so much beyond football. It's so much beyond players. It's so much beyond. He understands the big picture. And again, I'm getting goosebumps. I'm not kidding you. No, but it's this thing where, again, it's it's so much bigger than a football club. And actually, I was just during the Anfield tour, I want to tell this quick story because I think it epitomizes everything about Klopp. When he first arrived at the club, he has a match day office when the players come in, and he always spends 10 or 15 minutes there before heading into the locker room and everything. And there, when he first arrived, they asked where they should put his engraving of his name on the door, and he points across from him, which is the cafeteria, and he says, "Is the chef's name engraved on the door?" And they said no. And he's like, "Then why should mine be? He's just as important to the culture as I am." That's first week, and it's again, these are things that he's not trying to show off. He's not trying to say that this is how he is. This is one story, but every time I hear people talk about these behind the scenes stories, it's always the same. It's this thing where what you see is what he is. And it's this thing where he's all about this culture. And that's why even in the down moments, I was listening to Hendo on a pod too. He's the down moments when we lost the Europa League, when we lost the Champions League, before we had all the success, he's those are the moments they all realized this man is different. Yeah. He's just different. And that's something where it's you can't compare him to any manager. I'm sorry, I agree. Maybe Pep is a tactical genius, but I don't no. I'd much rather have a club has, especially with Liverpool. It's this thing where he understands the city perfectly, and he's just it's he was born to be there, and it's every day, if I'm having a rough day, this is how much it means. You asked that question. If I'm having a rough day, I tell myself, enjoy this day because Jurgen is our manager. He's our boss. And the moment he leaves, we're all going to realize we took every single day for granted. That's how special. The
thought of it scares me.
Yeah, but that's how special, And I don't think I'm ever going to feel that way about a manager again, especially modern day managers, modern day football. It feels like he's from another era. It really does.
It does. Okay, so I'll ask you a couple of questions now to finish the pod. Player of the season for you?
Alisson has to be. I don't. Again, it's one of the. You said you don't want to know where we'd be without him or when he's gone. I don't want to know where we'd be this season without Ali. I do not want to know.
No, mate, I agree. I chose Alisson myself because, again, where would we be without him? Because we should be nowhere near fifth. So if we had, let's say, someone else in goal, no disrespect to any other goalkeeper, we'd be mid-bottom half. That's the sad thing about it, because having him in goal in a 1v1 situation, you may as well just turn around and take the goal kick, or you may as well just you're never ever getting past him. He's a machine, isn't he?
he's the best goalkeeper in the world. Like I don't think there's any doubt, especially when you see the importance and how much we get caught out because of the high line that we play. It's like he's so instrumental to the way that we play that, like, if he wasn't there again, I don't want to know where we'd be. Like, no.
Okay.
Although I
so
love Kelleher. He's
me
a
too.
legend.
Me
He's a
too.
legend.
But the thing is,
You can't compare.
there's levels, isn't there?
There's levels.
And I feel like Ali is in a world of his own.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've spoke about the best moment, which was United. The funniest moment, again, probably United.
Yeah.
Other than the Alexis signing, last question, what do you feel like we need for the season?
Like what Jose said, like from the beginning, and I always asked him because he has the point of view of having been a professional too. I always said, Jose, like, what the hell is going on? Why is there such a big drop off? And he said, it's not a surprise. And I'm like, why not? Why is it not a surprise? He's like, because footballers are human beings. This Liverpool squad has won everything. If you don't give every player competition for a place, normally it's human behavior to be more comfortable. But with how competitive we see the league is this season, you can't ever be complacent. And I think it's clear to see that what we need is any position we feel there isn't proper competition, we need to invest there. It's as simple as that. And obviously the midfield is a clear place, but like for a player to be able to tell himself, especially as big of a club as Liverpool, to say, I could have 5 bad performances in a row and I keep my spot in the team. Like, I'm sorry, Virgil, the best defender I think I'll ever see in my lifetime. Even him, at certain points, I think he deserved to be dropped, but you can't drop him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then it's like that's a big problem.
Yeah, I agree, mate.
When you've FSG, get your wallet out is what I'm saying. Get your wallet out.
When you see them players who are very comfortable in their position, it does frustrate me a little. The likes of Trent, there was times last season he knows himself he shouldn't have been in that side, but again, what we had available was very limited. So it was Jimmy Milner at 37 who didn't do bad.
Love him.
But what a hero, by the way. Right, let's leave it there, Leo. Let's call it a pod. Yeah. I'd just like to say thanks for your time, and I'd like to also shake hands with Chris, who put us in touch.
Yes, absolutely, the legend.
Yeah, he's a good man, Chris Marr. Thanks very much.
And thank you for having me on.
No, honestly, it's been great, and it's been good to finally put your face to a name.
Yeah.
Give us a shout when you're over here next. Let's stay in touch.
Of course, absolutely.
Okay, catch you soon, mate.
Catch you soon. Ciao.
Thanks to everyone for listening in to today's podcast, and thank you to our amazing guests. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Don't forget to follow us on social media, twitter.com/The Road End Pod, and on Instagram /The Road End Pod.